Hello everybody, welcome back. In case you saw the video from a couple days ago, sorry about the paint on my hands. This is the swipe that I did. And I mentioned that I had some consistency issues and I didn't like the composition. So I'm gonna pour over it. And I know some of you guys are so sweet and you'll say, no, don't pour over it. But I'm gonna pour over it and let me tell you why. When I start the resin process, that could take anywhere from 2 coats to 3 or 4 coats, depending on if, the resin's right, and get some, and if I don't really like it now, I'm going to resent having to do so much work on it later. So we're just gonna pour over it. I did sand the top of it gently with some 220 grit sandpaper, just because it was a little bit thick, because I didn't spin too much off and I didn't want too much thick paint left on the surface. So we're not gonna do the same colors today. I do hope to do the same colors again and do that swipe some justice. But we are gonna do another negative space swipe today. Let me see if I can't spread this around a little bit. Sometimes I leave too much in the center and then we go to spread it out and stretch it out and there's just so much stuff still on the surface. So anyway, I hope everybody's doing well and staying healthy. I have a little bit of a scratchy throat today, so if you hear me clearing my throat and stuff, that's why. Sorry in advance. I'm gonna add a little bit more pillow paint to the edges, but I didn't want to just pile it up in the center. I'm really trying to do better about having too much paint on the surface. I have such a terrible habit of using too much, and then sometimes it impacts my composition in the long run. So that's probably plenty. I do want to make sure I have a decent amount because I have to cover up what's underneath it. So we want to make sure when we spin we get good coverage. I am going to drop that. Sorry puppies, I startled the dogs. I'm going to do this one more time because I see a couple bubbles. Okay, my husband's working, so I need to chill with the dropping. There's a couple bubbles in here, but I think that they'll pop. Sometimes they're like in there, and even popping them with a skewer doesn't seem to work sometimes. Okay, so let me tell you, I'm very conflicted about my colors today. There's some I definitely want to use, and then there's some that I want to throw in for a little contrast. And sometimes when I do this, when I'm throwing about colors, I try to use up some paint. So I have this Prussian blue. This is Amsterdam Prussian blue, I think. And it's been in here for a minute. I thinned it down with a little Jo Sonja water. But there's not a lot in there, so I kind of thought that could be one of the base colors, and then I could use it up and not waste it. I don't want it to dry out. So when I have paint that's too thick, as long as it's still moving and not sludgy, I will thin it down with a couple drops of Jo Sonja water. And what I do, I learned this tip from Shelly. I basically mix an old Jo Sonja bottle with 3 parts Jo Sonja to 1 part water. And that's perfect. And it doesn't take a whole lot. So that's Prussian blue. I am using a blue-black cell activator, so if I use the Prussian blue, it kind of needs to be in the background. But I wanted to have a little contrast, and yeah. Sorry, I'm getting paint off my hands. I'm also going to use a little bit of Australian Red Violet in there, one of my favorites by Matisse. I'm going to use a new color from Glidden that I got from Pixel Paint Designs. And this is their Impasto paint. So it's the one in the little jar. It's called Deep Sea, and it's sort of like a turquoise phthalo with a little bit more green in it. It's a really pretty color. Whoa, and I filled this up too full. Don't forget, you can save 15% off Pixel Paint Designs, which is where I get my Boom Gel and Australian Floetrol. and also has these global paints using Mandy 15 in all caps. The link is below. And then I have two colors from the new Summer Sequins set from Colourarte. And if you missed the video where I showed you all of the colors, I'll link that in the description box below. But this one is Willow Blue. So pretty. It's a little bit thin, so I'm gonna be careful to not use it too much. And it's not because of the pigment, it's because of how I mixed it. So I'm gonna do more drizzling with it. But it really should be fine. And then I'm gonna use Chambord. How am I supposed to say that? Chambord from the Summer Sequin set as well. So beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And this is a potential PrizmPour color that hasn't come out yet from Colourarte. And so it doesn't have a name yet. We can just call it Delicious if you want. And it is so beautiful. So I definitely wanted to use this one. It's like maybe like a fuchsia violet. Sorry, I'm snapping at my dog. Tough. Stop, please. Thank you. It's like a fuchsia violet with a blue shift. Oh, it's so pretty. And then I struggled whether or not to add this, but I have a little bit left mixed up. So one of my favorites is Solar Flare from one of the Bling It sets, the Ancient Treasures set. I love it so much, and I love to drizzle it across and let it be an accent color. It's a nice, soft, but very sparkly gold. So the colors that I wanted to be kind of the main event were the Deep Sea, this PrizmPour color that I'm going to temporarily call Delicious, and the Chambord. And I wanted these other two colors to be accent colors, and then Solar Flare to just kind of add a little pizzazz. So let's see what happens. I'm gonna swipe with my palette knife, if I can find it. And I'm gonna use Blue Black Cell Activator that I just mixed up. I've had some challenges the last couple days because I wanted to paint and I was literally out of like everything that I need. My pillow paint needed to be refilled. Sorry guys, this little light makes my phone droop a little bit. My pillow paint needed to be refilled. I just had a lot of like kind of paint housekeeping things to do. So let me bring you in a little bit closer. Well, maybe not. That's probably good. Make sure my phone doesn't flip out again. And actually that may be a little bit too close. Okay, let's get started. So, as I mentioned, the Prussian blue kind of needs to go toward the bottom. I am, since I've been talking for a few minutes, gonna spread this around the edge so that I don't get that weird line. I think I do have too much pillow paint on, so that probably means to get enough off, the design will be kind of big. So, it's okay. We're gonna use up this Prussian blue so it has a good purpose in its life before it gets sludgy. And Prussian blue is a transparent color too. So even though it's a dark color, it won't entirely take over, stretched out over that white. But this way, we have a good acrylic base down because some of the colors we're using, like the primary elements, are also semi-transparent. So that'll just give it a nice background. I didn't want to put it up toward the top because I didn't want it to mix with the blue black and not have any contrast at all. So this way it won't be an issue. All right, now this is our Willow Blue. So we'll put a nice streak of that right over there. Beautiful. And kind of moving these paints out of the way as I go. And let's see, my dog is making noise because it's close to her dinner time and she would like me to be more focused on her dinner than this painting. We're going to sprinkle a little red violet, but we're going to revisit it in a minute too. So red violet is, it's like you could almost put it in anything. It's such a beautiful color. It adds a nice pop of color. Mixes very well in the Bloom recipe. The Matisse paints always do. And so this one is the one I'm calling Delicious, but that's not its name. Before you guys go look it on the Colourarte website for Delicious PrizmPour. It's not its real name. Don't forget, you can save 20% off of anything on the Colourarte website using Mandy1120. There's some new PrizmPour colors coming, so keep your eyes peeled for that. There's also the brand new Summer Sequins series that we've been talking about. So don't hesitate to go on there and grab you some wonderful things. And I mean, that includes everything, the palette knives, the mixing spoons or mixing paddles. So the Vivid Polypore and Vivid Enamel. So all of those fun things you can save a little bit. And we all know I love my Colourarte. So you can tell I really like this color, huh? It's so pretty. And a little nervous about that, but it's gonna spin off, so that's okay. I'm gonna put a little bit of the Chambord like this. It's so pretty also. And then we're gonna finish off with drizzling some of the Deep Sea and maybe a little bit more red violet along with our solar flare. My brain's kind of all over the place today, huh? I think I'm going to do a couple of bigger drizzles of this just so that it doesn't get lost. You guys, I am dripping everywhere. What is my deal today? It's like the third time I've done that. Okay, I'm just moving some of these paint cups out of the way so when I spin I don't get paint in them. And move this guy over here. And then Deep Sea is very full, so I'm just going to try to not hold up that cup over here. Normally I do more lines than I do drizzling, but since I guess I can do that a little bit. Since I kind of drizzled everywhere else, I'm kind of just going with it. All right. That's probably enough, and we'll do just a smidge more red violet. I feel like I have a lot of paint on here. And then a little bit of solar flare, and we'll be good to go. I hope that I didn't over drizzle where you won't be able to see the colors underneath, but somehow colors always have a way of making themselves known. All right. Solar flare, one of my faves. So solar flare, because it's sort of the more of a, it's not sheer, but it definitely has a lot more translucency than like maybe a Emperor's Gold or an Indian Spice. It makes a nice accent color. So even though I'm drizzling a lot of it, it's not gonna, it'll be more of like the pop of gold at the top. It won't be crazy. Plus that way we won't let it dry up, let it come and show off a little. It's one of my favorites. And the Bling It series, or the Bling It sets, which is what one of this set is, not Summer Sequins, but where the Ancient Treasures, where I got the Solar Flare. You can use those in acrylic and resin, so they're a lot of fun. So let's pop a couple bubbles, and then we'll get to swiping. A little nervous since I had kind of a less than normal swipe for me the other day. You know, something about when you have a day where the paint thing doesn't go your way, it really messes with you the next time. So I kind of need this to be a win. So okay. All right, so let me load up my palette knife. I would show you what I'm doing, but I'm afraid that I will spill it onto the painting. So forgive me for not loading it as much in front of you. I really try to kind of show you as I spread it around, but I'm gonna get on my stool so I can make sure this is, so this is kind of what we're doing. We're just spreading it out. You get the idea. And I like to have a pretty generous amount on there, not a ton, but a good amount so that we don't have places that don't have cells. And if you don't have enough cell activator, sometimes that happens. I think we have a pretty good amount. All right, gonna have to swoosh around, huh? Because I have a pretty wide space of color there. I went a little nuts. All right, I'm just swiping my tool and wiping it off, and then we're gonna load the other part. So far, I think that's really pretty. Yay. I know that that's just part one, but I'll celebrate that. My cell activator, on whatever day I did this original painting, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, my cell activator was way too thin. It may not have really been that my cell activator was too thin, but my paint consistency was off, and so when I swiped, I didn't have a whole lot of cell activator left, which was part of the problem. So I didn't have a good amount like I do now. So I had minimal cells, very narrow lacing, didn't hold its structure. It was rough. Okay. Now that time, I started way over here earlier, so I had a lot less ground to cover and a whole lot of cell activator still. So let me clean this off, move my cell activator out of the way, and we'll start messing with this. So far, I like it much better than what we're pouring over. So let's just hope that it dries nicely. All right. I have a skewer ready. It's been used a little bit before, but so some places that are not developed quite yet, I'm gonna just gently blow on them. Just breaking the surface tension to let those cells come through. I don't really mind it if there's a little bit of cell activator in an area. That's not a big deal. But a lot of times there's really beautiful cells under there, they just haven't come through yet. All right, that's a little bit, the colors are gorgeous, you guys. Okay, now I normally connect some randomness a little bit more together by doing stuff like that. That wasn't perfect effort there. Like right here. So then as we spin it, that's going to open up a little bit. So I don't like to leave these parts that look like they're crawling into the house paint. I like to help manipulate those a little bit, because then when we spin, it doesn't look crazy. It doesn't grow more in that direction. And I don't know how well you can see that detail from where you are, but it's the first thing that I notice. So I'm going to continue to kind of follow that trajectory. Some of this over here I'm tempted to mess with. It kind of looks like a bat signal right now, but a lot of that is going to spin off. So I'm not too sure about tweaking it. I'm tempted to go like this with this, but I really kind of like the cells that we have right here. So I don't know. I don't know. Oh man, I really don't know if I want to do that. You see how subtle the solar flare is? It just adds just like a nice soft touch of super sparkly gold. I am tempted, I could wreck this and go like this, but I love the cells right here, so I don't really want to. So what I'm tempted to do is kind of go like this, just a little bit, to break up this straight line. But I'm afraid that that will become like the focal point. So I think instead of doing it multiple ways, I'm just gonna do it once. I was gonna do like 2 or 3 of those, but then I was like, that's gonna draw everyone's attention to that. So I wasn't sure if that was the desired objective, you know what I mean? Let's give it, I still don't know if what I just did helped or not, because let's give it a little spin before we keep messing with it. Just a little spin. Whoa, that's a bigger spin than I thought. Lots of paint on this little guy. Okay, I'm gonna tilt a little bit this way. I need to add a little bit of pillow paint right here, because it is not really wanting to so much move. I think I took too long in the process. It's not that we don't have enough, it's just not moving quickly enough. And I don't want to overstretch to get this edge covered. So I'm just going to help it a little bit, and we'll have some more spin off, but that's why I use too much. See, we have this ugly little ridge going on there. Okay, let's move this back and forth a little, because I moved it a lot to try to get that edge covered. Gosh, I love these colors together, you guys. It's so pretty. Like, I know you can't see up close, but this is so much more what I'm used to with a negative space swipe as far as cells and color. And I get the kind of nice little pillow cells that look like little bubbly cloud cells. And I get the mixture of the nice tight little cells and the ones that are a little bit bigger. That's what I'm used to. And that is not what happened on Wednesday when I did this one that we're painting over. I was just like, what is happening? This is not what my swipes usually look like. And I you know, when you're feeling like you're losing your touch after a couple paintings go the wrong way, and then your swipes start to go the wrong way too, you're like, what's happening? Why is this happening? What did I do? All right, let's, like, I'm tempted to keep messing with it, but it's so pretty that I just, there's things that I would love to see that maybe a little bit different in the composition, but I don't know. I just, like, I kind of want to create some curvature over here toward me, so it's not too straight across, but the colors and the kind of the cell patterns are so pretty that I don't want to mess with it too much, you know what I mean? We still have to spin some to get some stuff off. So, oh, it's so pretty. I'm so happy. That deep sea color and the red violet color were a great addition to the colors we used. And even though there's Prussian blue in the background, it really just kind of served as a good background color to make sure the paints stand out that we're putting on top of it. It's not like a dominant color, which is exactly what I wanted. I wanted it to be in the background and be pretty, but not to be taken over. We still need to get rid of a lot of paint. So I'm just gonna do some gentle spins. Oh, I think it's so pretty. I'm so happy. I needed this win. Okay, I was making sure my dumb autofocus wasn't doing the thing that it does. Okay, gentle spin, but with a little bit more push. I'm gonna lose some of our edges. This one, because I had so much pillow paint on, is gonna have a little bit of a wider design. It'll still have plenty of negative space, but it won't be like a small and dainty amount of negative space. But I like it. It's so pretty. I don't want to spin too much because I don't want to expand our colors so much that they all stretch out too much over that white, because we'll lose some of the boldness of that the more we stretch it out. But I just want to make sure we have enough off. So, especially because we're painting over another painting. I'm covered in paint. I hope that's enough off of the painting. There's definitely some bubbles I need to address. Let's see. One of them is right here on the side. There's a bunch on the top. There's also some goop or something right here. I should probably get that with tweezers, not with this skewer. Okay. Better. Sometimes you know not to do something and you do it anyway, and then you just regret it. Okay, there are a couple bubbles I need to get with a toothpick, so I'm gonna get those. And then I'm going to clean my hands. I'm going to bring you down for a close-up. I think we have enough paint off. I'm super nervous about it just because we have that paint underneath. So I hope that we do. I'm going to give it maybe one more gentle spin. There's still a lot of paint coming down the sides when I do that. So where it came down the sides a little bit, I think I'm just going to help it all the way. So it is going to make our edges a little bit lighter, but the center will probably still be very rich. And that's okay, that adds a little depth and contrast and stuff. I can't believe there's that much paint on there. I don't feel like I use that much paint. But the one thing about this pillow from Walmart, the Color Play Satin, is very thick. And so sometimes it doesn't look like there's a lot on there because it doesn't pool and puddle like some paints do. It's pretty thick, which is one of the things I like about it. But you do want to be careful not to leave too much on because it is so thick. It can crack. It doesn't do it very often. I've had it do it. I haven't had any boards do it. I have had it happen on a canvas before. 2 of them actually. So I think this is enough. So let me clean my hands. You should see how grimy they are. And then I will bring you down for a close-up. Be right back. Everybody, so let's do our close-up. You want to see something funny? This is where I scraped off the palette knife. There's even beautiful cells on there. Isn't that funny? Okay. Anyway, so here it is. I love the colors together. I love these cute little pillow cells that look like little pearls. So here we go. This is so much more like what I had in mind than what happened the other day. This one part didn't swipe all that well because that's where I had to kind of merge this side with this other side. But that's okay, it looks fine. See that little touch of the solar flare? I better stop putting my finger over there. I love this part where all of those colors create the little peacock cells, color within color. So pretty. I really love it. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Don't forget about the discount codes. There's also a link to my Fluid Art Friends Facebook group if you'd like to join in the discount, I mean not in the discount, in the description box below. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, everyone. I appreciate you all very much. This is making my heart happy that something finally went right this week. Again, thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new. Thank you so much for watching. We'd love for you to join us and let me know if you're new. Thank you again, everyone. Have a wonderful day. Stay safe. Talk to you soon.